All right, we're going to get started right on time. Welcome everyone to today's virtual workshop series. You are going to, in just a few minutes, be hearing from the DiJulius Group's Chief Revolution Officer and best-selling author, John DiJulius, on creating an onboarding experience. Before I turn it over to John, just a few things. I know a lot of you are regulars on our workshop series, but just a few things I wanted to mention before we get started. I will be monitoring chat the entire time that John is presenting today. So if there's any questions, next steps, how to reach out, who to contact, anything like that, please feel free to put in the chat. I'll make sure I get you answers to everything right away. If you have any ahas or anything that John says that resonates with you, please share it in the chat. We want this to be as interactive as possible. All these brilliant minds working together. We want to make sure that we're communicating together and adding to John's presentation in that capacity as well. And then also John will be taking live Q&A at the end of his presentation. So please, as usual, use the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and we'll make sure that John gets to any and all questions before we wrap up today. Just a reminder as well, I will be sending everyone a copy of the video recording for today's webinar, as well as John's PDF slide deck. So you will get that also, and then additional resources from the DiJulius Group that we would like to share with you. So now I'm going to turn it over to John. Oh, John, you're on mute.
Thanks, Lindsay, and welcome, revolutionaries. I'm excited. Oh, I keep on muting myself because I'm hitting the space bar. I'm sorry. Employee experience revolution, the definition, and you've heard this, but great companies help people live extraordinary lives. Their leaders inspire employees to build lives of meaning and purpose. And today is about chapter 5, creating an onboarding experience. I love this. It's really a great place. So we've talked about, a recruiting experience. Hopefully we're building that where we're hiring, the A players, the potential to have A players, the people that we can train to have high service aptitude. All right, now we have them. And Gallup says that 88% of employees are disappointed in their new organization's onboarding, right? The percentage of employees who quit before ever starting is shocking. Several studies and surveys have provided some insights to this phenomenon, often referred to as ghosting by new hires. A survey by Robert Half in 2018 found that 28% of workers admitted to having accepted a job offer, but then backed out before their start date. Additionally, a 2019 study by Randstad US reported that 43% of workers had ghosted an employer by not showing up for the first day or by stopping communication altogether. Companies experience high rates of pre-start date attrition, often refer and improve their onboarding process and communication to mitigate this issue. It is never too early to start building an employee engagement and employee motivation. Employee engagement refers to the level of commitment, passion, and enthusiasm employees have towards their work and their organization. And high employee engagement is associated with positive outcomes such as increased productivity, job satisfaction, and employee retention. All right. So what is hires remorse? Many companies miss incredible opportunity to capture new employee excitement, starting with a new organization. Human resources inform the new employees that they got the job when they start, and then they fail to communicate with them their first day of work. This, I was, when writing this book with Dave Murray, I was really confident this chapter, my companies have it dialed in. And later on in this webinar, the onboarding experience in the first 90 days, I really felt like we've been doing that really well. But this hires remorse was an ugly thing of is just, I was so guilty of what I'm going to talk about here. That when we hire someone, we'd say, all right, Lindsay, it's May 30th and you're starting June 21st. We'll see you at this location on June 21st, right? And then Lindsay may show up and we forgot that she was coming in. We didn't tell her direct supervisor that Lindsay was starting. Lindsay walks in and her direct supervisor is like, can I help you? And Lindsay's like, yeah, I'm Lindsay. And she's like, yeah, can I help you, Lindsay? And it's ugly from there. So, a lot of things can occur during the radio silence from the time the employee accepts their first job. The other thing that can happen is they keep on getting offers from the other companies they were interviewing with, and they get cold feet and start second guessing, is this the best organization that's going to help me reach my potential? Which leads to what Joey Coleman, author of Never Lose an Employee Again, refers to as the hires remorse. The importance of capitalizing on the pre-start phase of an employee's career cannot be overstated. This is where you can demonstrate how your culture is like no other they have ever experienced. Jumpstart their employee morale and excitement about the new chapter of their life. Not only their professional career, but also just in their life. So the accept phase that Joey refers to as capitalizing is associated with the offer and acceptance while creating a memorable moment at the instance that the employee accepts the job offer. When a candidate accepts your offer, you must show how excited you are and make them feel wanted. Many organizations fail to see this opportunity to create a milestone memory in the actual extending of the job offer, feeling of being wanted. Stop and consider the time in your life when someone actually let you know they wanted you. That is a quote from Joey Coleman.
What was your first day like at your current job? Do you remember it? I've talked to some people who have some pretty underwhelming memories of their first days. You show up and the receptionist didn't realize you were starting that day. So you're shown to your desk with a compliance and ethics binder to review until your boss shows up. And on your desktop itself is this weird random collection of stuff. There's a ballpoint pen and 67 binder clips and like a floppy disk drive from the 80s. Your chair, it bears the imprint of its previous owner, like an ergonomic butt fossil. Eventually, a good Samaritan on your floor stops by and introduces herself and then carries you around to meet 30 other people in 5 minutes. You immediately forget all of their names. Any of this ringing a bell? Neglecting the first day of a new employee's experience is a huge missed opportunity. My brother and I have been studying defining moments in people's lives and in their careers, and so often these moments are transitions. Think about the way we tell our life stories. Well, I was born in Milwaukee and I went to school in Chicago, and then I took my first job out of school, and that's where I met my wife, Samantha, and then we moved back to Milwaukee to have kids. You see what's going on there? You're telling the transition points. In fact, cultures take transitions so seriously, they have rituals to demarcate and to celebrate them. Think about graduation ceremonies or weddings or rites of passage rituals. Transitions deserve attention. The first day of work is a classic transition point. It deserves attention, but most organizations are not providing it.
That is Dan Heath, author of Making Moments Memorable. And so start wowing your new employees the moment they're hired. Joey Coleman shares when a prospective employee gets the job offer from a company, a physiological reaction takes place in their brain. Brain science shows that when a prospective employee moves from a state of consideration to a decision to accept the offer, a chemical is released in the brain. Dopamine floods the gray matter, creating an emotional euphoria. The newly minted employee feels excited and joy because their job search is over. They believe they have found what they are looking for all along. This euphoria state, an employee is filled with hope for their future. They anticipate continued growth and learning and the chance to contribute to a larger cause or mission. possibilities of advancement, new challenge, exciting opportunities. Their plan to meet new employees, do new things, be exposed to new situations, and achieve new things, right? That's all the part that we're missing before their first day. So what's that look like? Start the onboarding experience before the new hire even begins. So here's some best practices. Send a before the date email. All right. Author and Professor David Burkus shares some great best practices. He says the first tactic to make a new employee feel welcome is before the start date teaser email. You've been interacting with new hires during the interview process, and you know their contact information, you know a lot about them. So before their first day on the job, preferably just a day or two before their start date, send them a quick email how excited you are for them joining the team. Mention special information you recall from the interview, connect it to work your team will be doing. Just a simple message can help focus on they're looking forward to and them feel cared for and understood even before you technically they join your team. Another one is called the interview, right? It's a different from an interview. It's a second tactic that Burkus talks about. And this is the instead of new hires telling the team about themselves, it involves your existing team members sharing with the new hire. Ideally, members of the team were involved in the hiring process, and this interview is a chance for them to draw from what they remember to share and what they're so excited about meeting their new team member. Interviews work best when done in person early on the first day, but it could also be done by bombarding a new hire's desk and email inboxes with positive messages throughout. And then the next one, well, there's a positive welcome gift, okay? And we always talk about Ford, right? Giving them a gift based on their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Find out about it. Another tactic is to make new employee feel welcome is to personalize a welcome gift. Personalization doesn't just mean adding a name to the card or even embroidered on their polo. Instead, it means welcoming them with a gift that's personally selected to appeal based on the knowledge you have on them. And then what Redirect Health does, Vern Harnish talked about this. A technology company based in Scottsdale, Arizona, has an excellent way of learning, capitalizing, and demonstrating Ford with their new employees. During one of the interview processes, the interviewer asks the applicant, what is an indulgence you love that is under $20, right? And this is just they just think it's part of the interview. COO Guy Berry explains, if we choose to hire a candidate, we have the item bought and waiting for them when they show up on day one. If we have a bunch of new team members, this creates great intro conversations as team members share what items they received. We have bought someone a specific or unique drink from Starbucks, special chocolate, pizza with a special topping, even crazy socks that someone told us. It's a powerful first impression for new team members under $20. And jam session. This was also in Joey Coleman's book, Never Lose an Employee Again. Jam Sports is based in Toronto and operates more than in a dozen cities across Canada, the U.S. And here's the story. Built on the foundation of play and entertainment, Jam brings that same energy to new hires. Okay. On their first day of work, employees experience a high five welcome. I love this, right? A high five welcome. New hires are asked to show up at 10 a.m., an hour after the existing employees. So veteran employees can arrive at the office before the new team members, and the director of HR keeps the entire team updated via their internal chat tool while the new employee team leaders wait outside the building to welcome them upon arrival. The team leader ushers the new employees into the building, and they hear their walk-up song blaring from in-house speakers. Yes, you read that correctly. As part of the application process, Jam gets the candidate asks what would their baseball walk-up song be. and which Jam then uses to create an auditory experience and memorable experience when they enter the building for the first day on the job. The new hire is created by a human high five tunnel with veteran employees enthusiastically welcoming them. Now, all this can be done somehow virtually via Zoom if they're work from home. But let's watch the second half of the video you saw by Dan Heath.
The John Deere first day experience. Here's the way it worked. After you accepted your offer letter, a few days later, you get an email from a colleague at John Deere who would tell you what people wear and where do they go to lunch and where should you park on your first day. And when you arrive, you see your friend at the front door. She's got a cup of coffee for you, and you walk in the lobby and it says, "Welcome, Steve," on the giant LED monitors in the lobby. You're Steve, you're in lights. You get shown up to your desk, and on your monitor is this beautiful shot of John Deere equipment on a farm at sunset. It says, "Welcome to the most important work you'll ever do." You open your email box. You've got an email already. It's actually from Sam Allen, the CEO of John Deere, and in the video, he talks about his career, and he talks about the mission of John Deere, which is to provide the food and the shelter and the infrastructure that's going to be demanded by the world's growing population. At lunch, your colleagues take you out and tell you about the projects ongoing. Your boss stops by in the afternoon, along with your boss's boss. They both make appointments to talk to you in the weeks that follow. And you walk out the door that day thinking, I belong here. The work that we're doing, it matters. And I seem to matter to them. When they rolled out this experience for the first time in Beijing, some of the employees who'd been working there a long time said, "Can we quit and rejoin so we can get the first day experience?" Shouldn't every organization in the world have a moment like this first day experience? And shouldn't we be paying more attention to these transition points in employees' lives, starting with their first day, moving to their first job with people reporting to them, all the way through to their retirement? If we really care about improving the employee experience, about boosting employee engagement, we need to start paying attention to these transition points and start creating moments that matter.
Love that. Love that. All right. So one of my favorite quotes is this: when I hire someone, that's when I go to work for them. What is a typical new employee orientation for a lot of companies? It is a how not to get fired, right? I mean, think about it. Typical new employee orientation is about, all right, if you call in sick or you no show or you're late more than 3 times, it's all the ways not to get fired. And who goes home excited about that? Hey, honey, guess what? I found out 16 ways how I could get fired today. Psychologists have shown during periods of new things in people's life, right? They're particularly susceptible adopting new roles, goals, and values. Your orientation should be not about company policy, but an emotional, compelling story about company's journey, purpose, and values. So we're going to get into some best practices about, all right, it's after the first day. It's whenever, you have them go through orientation. I know not everyone can have orientation on day one. But we talked about that. Having reorientation is one of my favorite best practices. I learned this about 25 years ago from the Ritz-Carlton, and we've done it every since. So when we have new employee orientation, you'll see maybe 6 new employees, and you'll see 6 existing employees. And so we'll have 12 people in the room. The existing employees have to retake new employee orientation every other year, okay? For several reasons. One, hopefully our orientation has improved dramatically since the last time they've taken it. Number 2, it gets them really re-engaged with the company. They remember the stories, what it took to get here, how special the company is. Number 3, they become like the uncles and aunts in the class. They take over the class. They start telling the new employees how lucky they are because when they started 6, 8, 20 years ago, they had to walk to work barefoot uphill both ways. And they start storytelling. And then finally, the really cool, 2 more good things about this, the new employees, right? Like freshmen, at lunch, they meet the cool kids on the team. So when they go to work next week or tomorrow or whenever they start in their department, they know the popular people that have seniority, and those people go out of their way to make those new employees. But I'll tell you, the best thing I get is I always know when existing employees go through reorientation because they have a bounce in their step. I'll get emails, I'll get texts about, I forgot how great this company is. So I love that. Another best practice that I love about new employee orientation that we've done is, yes, part of the day has to go over boring policies and procedures and all that, legal stuff. So we've turned that section into a scavenger hunt. And the scavenger hunt is, depending on if you have multiple locations, nearby, or multiple departments in the same building, it doesn't matter. We give a list of our new employees 25 trivia questions. And they could be about, why you shouldn't chew gum, to who holds the record for the most, or who's done this and who's done this. And then they have to go around together, and it's kind of a contest who can get the answers the most. So picture this. People walk into a location or a department, and everyone that's working there knows who they are because they kind of have a clipboard with this, and they're like this. And so existing employees actually go and greet them, and they go out of their way to help them because they know the answers. And we all like to be smart. So if I see someone with a clipboard and a pen, I go over and say, what question are you working on? Oh, that's her over there. And then they got to go take a picture of it. Again, they're connecting, they're learning company history, company policy in a much more fun way, but they're interacting, and it's not that boring 2-hour blah, 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 blah. Love that. Touching base with employees every 15, 30, 60, maybe 45 in 90 days, just because I don't care who you are. If you start at my company tomorrow or I start at your company tomorrow, we are the dumbest person that works there. I mean, we just are. We don't know where the bathrooms are. We don't know the terminology, and it's hard. So you just want to catch them when they're falling and help them and pick them up. The other thing that we learned about this was 90% of an employee's professional development happens within their first 6 months at most companies, at that same company. So whether you work here 10 years or 30 years or 3 years, 90% of a typical company trains a typical company trains an employee 90% in their first 6 months. So A, that's bad, right? We should always be training our employees. But B, we had to look at all the training we were giving them in their first 90 days to 180 days and realize they didn't need to know everything then. Let's back it off. Let's spread it out, and let's give them what they need to know right now, right? It was like a fire hose, and they weren't learning anything. So we crawl, walked, and run with that. And then this is something cool. So I don't care who you are, we all talk about work. Right. We probably talked about this on our last webinar. Is you go out, you meet someone, and within the first 30 seconds, the conversation, what do you do? What do you do? And we talk about. Now think about when someone starts a new job. That's all they talk about, right? They're to their friends, their parents, holidays. I started a new job. I started a new job. So what we do, and we learned this from Chick-fil-A, is we give new employees a soundbite. Right? Because we want them to be proud and not just say, oh, well, I'm a cashier, or I'm sweeping hair, or whatever. And so here's what, like an example of one of our companies, the DiJulius group, is I just started working at the DiJulius group as a customer experience consultant. The DiJulius group is one of the top customer experience consulting companies in the world, working with companies like the Ritz-Carlton, Lexus, Starbucks, KeyBank, Nestle, Chick-fil-A, and many more. We help organizations become the brand customers can't live without and make price irrelevant. We do that for the spas. We do that for Believe in Dreams. It makes the employee feel really proud. It articulates, what they do, what they're doing, and what their company does. And you know what? It's an advertisement for the company. We've actually had people that have said, wow, that sounds like are they hiring? Right? So give your new employees sound bites, because that's all they're talking about. Many people come to work for a company having had previous work experience. And in many cases, that work experiences might have been bad. As such, they enter with cynicism, and it's the burden of proof on leaders to demonstrate that this is going to be different, a different place. Okay. So, we really have to work on this. So this was just an example of some of the things, but please ask me questions. This is just a teaser of the employee experience revolution chapter of onboarding. There's so much more in there. But lately our webinars have been going like too long and we haven't been able to take enough questions. So I wanted to keep it a little closer, but some other best practices off the top of my head is, if people are coming in physically to the location, having a banner up top, with a welcome sign, and just making sure they get to meet as many people, in their first week, and what they do, and all the different things, besides having, their technology set up and all those things. World-class experience is won and lost in transitions, and that's customer transitions when it's being handed off from one department to another, but it's also employee. And what I mean by that is a lot of times an employee candidate will, get hired by HR, right? And they're basically accepting the job based on the HR person. They love the HR person, they connected, but the HR person goes away. And now they show up at that job again, like we opened with, really excited, but their manager wasn't prepared for that they were coming in today. Their computer isn't set up, their access codes isn't set up, and they feel like an inconvenience. So we really have to make sure that the transitions from employees going from the interview process to the onboarding, really lives up to what we told them the job was going to be like, what the company, the culture is going to be like. So before we take questions, let's revisit the employee experience revolution. Is great companies help people live extraordinary lives. And when we talk about people, we talk about, their employees, themselves, their customers, and their community. Okay. Their leaders inspire employees to build lives of meaning and purpose. These are the chapters. I'm going to throw it back to Lindsay to start taking questions. And please ask me anything. We got plenty of time here to help you with anything that applies to your particular situation.
Perfect. So really quick, like John said, there's still plenty of enough time. Please go into Q&A, submit any and all questions. We'll make sure that everything gets answered. I do have John. Gina asked, and I didn't want to answer it without being 100% certain, so I'll let you answer. What is the name of the author for the book, Making Moments Memorable?
I might have screwed up the name. It's the author's Dan Heath. It might be Moments That Matter.
That's why I was like,
yeah, Dan Heath.
Perfect. Okay.
It's a great book. It's a great book.
Yes. And then again, so plenty enough time. Please go into Q&A, submit your questions. We'll make sure that that those get answered. There is a QR code, very handy right there on your screen. If you haven't already purchased your copy of the Employee Experience Revolution, it has officially launched. So book is here, it's available, it's ready to go. So if you would like to quick order, please go ahead and grab that QR code. And then, do you want to go to the next one for me, John?
I'm so sorry.
Okay. So we are offering a brand new executive academy called the Employee Experience Executive Academy. It will launch actually this fall. So if you want to grab this QR code as well, it'll take you to our website. It has all of the information. This basically is going to drill down everything that the book is about, everything that John and Dave have been discussing on all of our webinars thus far this year. So for more information, please use that QR code. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to any of us at any time. I will include information in regards to ordering the book and the Employee Experience Executive Academy on the follow-up email. So just so you know, those are coming from me as well. And then we do have a number of additional virtual workshop series webinars coming up throughout the rest of this year. So the The additional webinars that we added for fall and into winter are here. So if you are interested, those are again complimentary 1-hour webinars. We have them about twice per month. We would love to have you join us. So, okay, let's see what we got here. Douglas asked if the Employee Experience Revolution is going to be available on Audible. It will be.
We are working on that soon.
Yes. All right.
Otherwise,
so
I'll just call you up every night, Douglas, and just read it to you.
There you go. All right. So first question will start. Ray said, John, can you rerun the stat regarding an employee's development? He said he heard that in 90% of the companies, the employee's development is completed within a certain amount of days. But can you just reiterate that stat? I'm not sure if it got cut off.
So I threw a lot of stats out, Ray. So make sure I'm giving you the right one. I'll probably give you all of them. One was 88% of employees are disappointed in their new organization's onboarding. The other one later on, I said, and I know I kind of mumbled it up, but 90% of an employee's professional development happens within their first 6 months. All right. So if Lindsay's going to work here, for she's been here 21 years, I believe. Supposedly 90% of that training all came within the first 6 months if this was a typical company. So two things are wrong with that. A, we should never stop training employees, and employees want to be trained and they're motivated. But the other side of the coin is how much we were blasting our new employees. And so one of the things that's great to track, and we'll probably talk about in the next webinar about ongoing after 90 days, how to retain employees, is when you track your employee turnover. So most people do this and they can spit off 25%, 45%, 85%. All right, that's great. That's how many percentage of existing employees you lose per year. But what we do and what we recommend and what we consult with clients is, all right, where does that fall in an employee's career span with you? Meaning, of that 50% of, let's say, employees you lose turnover, what percentage is at the first 90 days? What percentage is 1 to 5 years? What percentage is 5 to 10 and 10 and beyond? And I will tell you, ours, we had very low turnover, but the majority of ours was in the first 90 days and in between 2 and 5 years. And so we were like, what's going on with those times? And so the first 90 days was exactly what I told you, that we were, you're the dumbest person that works here, and we are just crushing you with a fire hose of technical and customer service training. And we're just blowing you away. And so we had to back off that. We didn't need to know everything today. Some of the stuff you wouldn't need to know technically for 6-12 months before you get into that position and stuff. So we could streamline that a lot better. So I don't know if that was the percentage, because I threw out a couple around 90%.
He said perfect and thank you. So
okay, great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Ray.
Absolutely. All right.
And listen, share your best practices. Share, hey, you talked about this. We do that, and let us know what's working. Maybe it's something I didn't bring up. Share what you do on your onboarding that could be better. And tell me if I'm the only one that was missing the boat on going radio. We were going radio silence on the new candidate after we offered him the job and we told him to start in 2 weeks. We weren't communicating with him, and that's a dangerous time where we could be capitalizing on their excitement and not letting them get cold feet and think that maybe the other offers are better offers that they're getting. Anyone have either one of those?
Gina said she loves the idea of the 15-day check-in. Something she stopped but need to bring back. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we implemented that back when we found out that we were losing a high number of people in our 90 days. We did a lot of things. Hey, some of that was poor hiring, right? They just weren't a right culture fit. But the other things were that we were, just the fire hose of training and overwhelming them. And so now slowing the training and having something like a mentor or something in that process saying, hey, you're crushing it.
All right, let's see. Charlie said Darren Hardy shared the idea of sending out a shock and awe box to new hires in his business masterclass.
I love that. Listen, anything Darren Hardy says, I buy into. He's brilliant. I love that, and that could be swag. That could be, information. It could be great podcast, personal and professional.
Okay, this is really good. So, oh gosh, everyone's coming in now. It's jumping. Okay, so Kara said that they do a 90-day review where they flip the table and the new hire reviews them on the hiring and onboarding experience. That's
I love that,
awesome.
Kara. I know we used to do this, but we don't do it as well. I doubt we do it as well anymore. When someone went through the apprenticeship program, we'd always have them review us, because that, they could tell us what was overwhelming, what was, not explained as well, that, the curse of knowledge. And so that's great, because, the people doing the training probably haven't been a new employee in years, if not decades. So we forget what it's like to be, to have that anxiety of a new employee.
Yeah, Andrea said the interview instead of the exit interview sounds like a great way to feel welcome. Transitions deserve attention. Thank you, Gina, for sharing. You love that. Love the reorientation Justine mentioned. Ooh, let's see here. We began to
Where were all
institute
these when I was writing my book? I could have put them in.
We had to do this first. Welcome to your, began to institute a welcome to your career call, where we have our managers call new teammates several days before their first day to get them excited and cover things. That's awesome. And answer questions. That's really good. Such a great idea. We made it a point to discuss how our new hires learn best and discuss how they like to receive feedback. We use that to tailor the training to best suit them, and found that it helps with both training and communication. Thank you, Brandy. Let's see, Ryan put a question in. We've started sending new hires a shock and awe packet that includes sound bites from their hiring manager and the president of the company. I think it helps engage the new employee and excite them about the new experience with our company. Very cool. Love all the best practices. Those are all great.
And the book is here. They're actually going out. I probably shouldn't have said that, Lindsay. I'm sorry. Because Lindsay has to mail out thousands of books. So she probably wanted me to keep that secret. But yeah, if you've ordered it, we've gotten the books. We're signing them this week. And Lindsay, I'm gonna, say hopefully next week at the beginning of the week, she'll get them all out.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, yeah,
Hope
definitely.
I didn't overpromise there, Lindsay.
So, yes, I think I got your order, Katie. I got Gina, I got yours too. So we're getting.
And if you
very
don't
excited.
know, correct me, Lindsay, if you order it, they still get the interview questions, right? And we're
Absolutely.
adding to those and improving them all the time. So
Absolutely, they get that. Perfect.
anything
All right.
else? I'm here if I can answer. I love the sharing though.
Absolutely.
And listen, if every leader should read the book, they really should, and every potential leader should read the book. If you're thinking about someone that is, would be a good candidate for leadership, have them read the book and then have them tell you, what they think and each chapter, and that'll give you a really good guide of where their headspace is and if they're right for your culture.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us and interacting and sharing best practices. That's always my favorite part. Our next virtual workshop series webinar is in a couple weeks. It's on Thursday, June 13th, again at 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll have Dave and John talking about how to create an employee experience that retains them. So hopefully we'll be seeing you guys in a couple weeks. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you again.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Lindsay.
Bye, guys.
you.